Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Ethan,
And I'm Rick.
and today we are going to go in depth with yet another hero today in the Blue Team expansion box. Now, I don't want to pronounce the name wrong, so Dad, could you please tell us the name of the character that we're going to go in depth with?
Jubilee.
Jubilee. Perfect, Jubilee. I've said that name.
Not Jubilee.
Yeah, no, Jubilee. Not Jubilee.
It's got to be Jubilee.
Jubilee. So, anyway, Jubilee. Wait, did I say? Yeah, Jubilee. Okay, Jubilee. Okay. We're going to go in depth with Jubilee, and we're going to talk about her symbols and her specials, what kind of character she is.
Should we just call her Juby or Lee?
We'll call her. You call her Juby, I'll call her Lee. How about that? So, we're going to do that, and we're just going to see, everything about her and give you a good info on the character. So
by the way, spoiler alert: the new X-Men United sets are awesome.
100%.
And I know I've been on the show since it's really came out, other than the core box, but I'm just interjecting there. Right. Awesome.
You have played quite a few handful of games of Marvel United, so you are safe to say that X-Men United is amazing.
But it makes it all amazing, right? Really and I'm sorry to interject. It's the first time I've been on the show since I've been just too busy, right? It's the first time I've been on the show since we got the new set in. And the thing is it's not like it makes Marvel United like, and you might want to have another show just on this, but it's not like it makes Marvel United, extinct or anything like that. You can take all these new rules and new play modes and everything and apply it to the old heroes.
Yes.
And crisscross. Yes. It's just awesome. And I know we're going to get into some of the team aspects today.
Yes, and like you said before, combining these different kind of characters. But first we got to know what these characters are in order to combine.
Absolutely. I just got excited.
So of course. Hey, I get excited too, especially about this game. It's just super fun and easy to pick up. But let's move on here and talk about Lee. Let's talk about Lee. Let's go to her symbol counts. We got first 2 hits, 6 heroics, 6 moves, as well as 3 wilds. So just any comments there on what you've noticed?
Well, obviously it seems like she doesn't have a lot of hits. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into what makes up for that a little bit. Yes. You think Jubilee with her explosiveness and lights and the comics, that really gets more into her special abilities. So she's kind of a well-rounded character in a lot of aspects, but it definitely has a lot of heroic opportunities in there.
100%. Because again, those hits only a 2, an average is 4 at least. 4 is an average of hits or heroics or moves. So that's not really a stronghold, but obviously her specials will help her out with that. So let's take a look at her specials. She has explosive light blasts and Sonic shields. Is that how you pronounce
Sonic
that?
Shields. Sonic shields. So yeah, explosive light blasts. It has the base symbol that it comes with is a move, and then she can do 3 hits to 3 different targets in her location. So
I really like that.
It's pretty good. I still think it's a little limited. I mean, it's powerful, but and it comes with a move, so she can try to position herself, but she's got to do all 3 of them hits in one location.
Yeah,
she can't like hit, move, hit. It's got to be 3 hits in her location. Is how I read that, right?
Yes. In your location, just 3 different targets.
In 3 different targets.
That's the problem. Right?
She can't hit the villain 3 times.
No.
The main villain. And she can hit the villain, then a henchman, and then, 3, what do they call the bad guys, right? The threats.
The henchmen.
Well, I thought henchmen are
thugs.
Thugs. 3 thugs. There we go. Thank you. Yep. So, so it seems really powerful. Like, wow, 3. But, she can clean a row of henchmen out.
Yeah.
That's for dang sure.
Oh, yeah.
Or, a row of thugs out, and then a henchman. And she can move with it. But, if there's no one there, she's not doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I've talked about this in the show a lot, as well as with you and with other family members as well. I've always said that I'm not a big deal 3 hits to a single enemy kind of guy. I really am not. I've talked about this. That, for example, that's why Thor is so low in my charts, because that's his main ability, and I just don't like that. But I would choose that over this.
It's a villain killer, though.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I get you. I mean, this, if you don't like that, then this might, in a way, be more powerful, because you can take out a row of thugs or a henchman. But at least, in the other way, if it's 3-1, well, it's a villain or a henchman killer. Yeah. Right? It's you're getting to deal that massive damage, and you're trying to hold that card on until you get to the villain phase where he's under pressure and you can hit him, or and you can attack. So yeah, just different. This is probably more early game, I would say, right? When you're trying to knock out thugs and henchmen, depending. Now, when we played the particular villain we were playing, Mr. Sinister with Jubilee here, he don't have any henchmen.
No.
In his set, so that was even more limiting here, because all she could do is either hit a couple thugs or hit him once.
Yeah.
There's no henchmen to help with that.
Yeah. And you know what? I guess it just all depends on the situation, right? But if you're playing just a normal, regular game, that is a good ability. You could clear 3 thugs with that, because you're hitting 3.
It's powerful.
Yeah, you're hitting that, or you can hit, as well as, like you said before, the villain, or 2 thugs, or one time on the minion, one time on everybody. It's a powerful one. Yeah. I just think later on it might lose that specialty.
Yeah,
just depending on what happens.
And it depends too. I mean, you can set it up a little bit. If you can give her a move from a previous card, or if she has a move token, at least she can maybe jump somewhere where that can happen. With this only having the 1 move on it, depending on what the previous card was, she's only going to have a little bit of limited range where she could get off all 3 hits, right? Yeah. She's going to move one either way.
Yeah.
But if she's got maybe 2 moves, she can hop around the map a little bit, find a spot, dump all that damage, and move on. So there's possibilities there, depending on, if she's got a little bit of freedom of movement, it'll help. But like in our game, what we saw is there wasn't a lot of thugs. They weren't dropping a lot of thugs. So again, she's limited, because if there's not a lot of thugs, she can't save it to hit the villain 3 times, because she's not gonna be able to do it. So I don't know. It's kind of a polarizing special ability. It can have its moments, for sure. It can have its moments. Do we want to talk about Sonic Shields?
Yes, let's move on to Sonic Shields. We have here 2 Sonic Shields that say, ignore the direct effects of the next villain BAM that would affect you. It can still affect others. Very interesting here. I just like to say, just straight out of box, that is really good. I personally believe it might not be the best kind of team play kind of card, right? As you know, there's some abilities that let you like cancel the BAM, like for everybody. Right. This one's a little bit more selfish, a little bit more like yourself, but it protects you. You can go toe to toe with the villain if he's gonna play a BAM, if he's not gonna move, right? Because it won't affect you. And of course, depending on the different challenges, for example, the team mode or whatever, you won't be affected by any of the BAMs that the villain would do, but the other team will be affected, as well as your own teammates as well. But I think it's still pretty nice. It gives her that layer of protection, I believe, that armor, and yeah, I think it's all around a pretty solid ability.
Yeah, it depends on the BAMs. I mean, some BAMs do environmental stuff, add things to the map, give tokens, and she can avoid all of that. And, if it's between you losing a game and winning a game for your team, right? If you get enough KOs, you can be knocked out of the game, depending on what's going on. That master plan's happening. Well, now you're getting ignored that. So, yeah, it is. It's just it comes with a heroic on it. So again, it's kind of hey, I'm going to save something here and just get to ignore BAM for a round.
Yes, and just to clarify one thing, it says ignore the direct effects of the next villain BAM that would affect you. So only for you.
Yeah, right. That's what it's like. You said, it's selfish. So
selfish.
I mean, not selfish. It's just unique to her.
Yeah.
So it's not protecting the team. It's not ignoring the BAM. It's not flipping that villain card over, or the next card's coming face down. It's not that powerful. So, but it definitely will keep Jubilee alive. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also interesting because it doesn't say the next card if it has a BAM and it affects you. It says the next BAM. So if a hero on your team, on the hero side gets KO'd, the villain will play or will do the BAM,
and you get to ignore it. Yep,
you get to ignore it, which is nice.
But just one of them.
Just one though, not the card. So you got to be careful. Maybe talk to your teammates about not risking it, right? A lot, not too much, because then your effect will wear off after that. But still good, unexpected, right? Unexpected. The villain, one of your teammates might, be KO'd, and if the villain is here in his location and in the same location you are in and does his BAM, you're still protected. So it's also a good just thing to have until the beginning of your next turn. I think, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Well, that was the specials. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, were you moving into the?
Huh?
Are we moving into the team discussion?
Yes. Now we're gonna move into the team discussion, and just first off, before we talk about teams and strategies and stuff, I just wanted to say quickly, what kind of team do you think she belongs? Do you think she belongs in a 2v2, a 3v3, or a bit both?
Well, so that's where I think as far as like just a regular character in like a Marvel United straight up game fighting a villain, I think she's mediocre. I'll be honest. Yeah. I don't think she does much. Mm-hmm. I don't think her special abilities are that great. It takes kind of a perfect storm of perfect storm. Get it? X-Men. Yeah. Perfect storm of activities. That's terrible. For her to do it all. But in a 3v3 campaign. So again, for anybody that's not heard, or listened to maybe one of the previous episodes, maybe this is your first one, maybe you've played Marvel United, you're waiting for X-Men United. Mm-hmm. It comes with a new mode, which is basically team versus team. We probably have to talk through this for a couple episodes in a row just 100%. To make sure in case somebody's coming on, right? So in essence, what it is you can either do 2 heroes versus 2 heroes or 3 heroes versus 3 heroes fighting the same villain.
Yes.
And basically, it's one kind of giant, I don't want to say, it's almost like 2 master plans kind of happening. Mm-hmm. So the villain will go and his card affects both teams. Mm-hmm. But then each team gets to activate their heroes.
Yes. In their own storyline.
Or 2 in their own storyline. And then the storylines converge again, mm-hmm. where the villain card kind of sits between the 2.
Yeah.
And then breaks off. And the way you basically have victory is first you have to defeat the villain. If the villain wins, both teams lose, nobody wins.
That's it.
The other way is you just attack the villain and you have to do damage to him. And the team that did the most damage wins. Basically. Mm-hmm. So if you got a villain that has 9 hit points, you do 5, I do 4, you win the game. Now, there's some interesting ways because you're thinking, well, great. Well, once I get to 5, I can't win. Why? Well, no. You're allowed to overkill the villain. So this is what was great. Our game came down to that last point, right? Horrible. You had hit the villain for 5. Mm-hmm. I had hit the villain. No, you'd hit the villain for 6.
And then you went for him for 4.
You hit him for 5.
I hit him for 5?
I believe you hit him for 5, right? How many hit points did he have?
He had 11.
He had 11 hit points. That's right. So you hit him for 6. Mm-hmm. I had hit him for 4. Yes. But then I overkilled.
Yes, you did.
So it was 6-6.
It was 6-6.
And then the tiebreaker is who did the death blow? Yes. Who did the final? Oh, that was me. My overkill did it. Yeah. So we tied, and I broke the tie. But anyway, you kill the villain, count up who did the most damage, you win.
Yes.
That's it. And, I think. Mm-hmm. And this to me is where she can shine.
Yeah.
Because that map gets cluttered with 3v3. Yes. What'd you think of that?
I mean, absolutely right. I mean, especially with Mr. Sinister and probably some other villains as well who can bring all these heroes one space closer to him and then doing his BAM. That's pretty tough. And if she can, if that's going to affect her, or excuse me, if that's going to affect her, well, with her ability, she can easily, cancel that BAM on her, right?
Right. So that helps. So Mr. Sinister, what he basically does is every character starts with some DNA tokens. Mm-hmm. He takes these away. If he gets enough of them, he wins the game. And if any of your characters lose their DNA token, so in our case, they had 2 each. If you lose them, you don't get your special powers. Mm-hmm. So she could avoid that. But what I thought she could shine is that map's cluttered. You got 6 heroes, mm-hmm. a villain running around in there, and now she can get that explosive light blast off, where she's doing 3 damage to different targets. Mm-hmm. Because that's the other piece of this team mode is I can use my attack symbols on your heroes
on the other team, but you cannot KO them. Just to be clear,
you can't KO them, but you can hit them, and they
keeps
lose
them
that
on your
card.
toes, though.
Yeah. So now, if I catch you with a couple of your heroes in one location, mm-hmm. I can take 2 cards away from you, one of each hero, or 3 if I got all 3 of them.
Yeah. Just some great key features, right? Right, because it that did happen a lot, especially with the Mr. Sinister, right, where, like you said. I mean, we had a point where, like, the last 2 rounds of the game, 6 characters were in the same location or something like that, right? Like, every hero in the game was in one location. And Jubilee can definitely use that ability and hit all 3 of the other teams.
Yeah, so she can hit the villain and then hit 2 other people.
Yep.
Or depending what symbol she's got in front of her, do some damage. And that's going to happen because you're trying to hurry up and rush and beat the villain. So to win the game, so everybody's going to come together on that. So I think she excels in a team versus team. Mm-hmm. She has a lot more options, and a lot more opportunities to use her special powers
in a 3v3, correct?
Well, 3v3 or 2v2 even at least, because at least there's just more targets on the board for her to hit.
I guess,
right?
Yes,
there's not just a villain and henchmen and thugs. Now you got villain, henchmen, thugs, and the other team. Mm-hmm. 3v3, more chances, but even 2v2, there's 2 other heroes she could be hitting. So I think she's a little better there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll do an episode probably just on the team versus team, blue team versus gold team, what that means and what we've seen so far and how cool that is. Mm-hmm. But I think that's where she's a better character. If I'm straight up playing her against, Mr. Sinister or Magneto, she's going to be pretty limited.
Yeah, I can see that she could be a pretty good 2v2 character, especially with having 5 2-symbol cards, and she has 0 no-symbol cards as well, which is really nice. But I personally thought, in my opinion, that she would probably be a good 3v3, just giving her more opportunities of hitting, having more targets, like you said.
With the light blast.
With the explosive light blast. I just feel that maybe giving her more targets will be more effective. And, I mean, that is, if you count that ability in those hits, that's a potential 6 hits, which is really nice.
Yeah.
In a 2v2 game, you might have a potential of only making 4.
Right.
Or
and
5,
we're focusing on the hits. We're focusing on the hits. She's a pretty mobile character.
Yeah, she's really
got 6
mobile.
moves, so she can give those to her teammates with her cards. She's a pretty good heroic character as well. So I'm really focused on her hits. But, in a game like this, you focus on, obviously, too, their special powers. And I think that's probably should be clear. Her special powers can be a little underwhelming, depending. But in a team game, I think they're better. Now, she comes in the blue team box. So she's obviously kind of designed with that in mind. Mm-hmm. But I do think, another piece that I like to mention about these characters that Simon or Come On or whoever the heck they are now, I think that they excel at is they have done a great job of making these thematic. And she's a little weak on the theme, but that's probably just more me not as familiar with her in the comics as I used to be. I just remember that old 90s X-Men cartoon before you were born that she was kind of in. But, she is mobile. She's heroic. She's got a little bit of a light blast shield. She's kind of an energy, character. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, and what type of character do you think she is?
I think she's really a mobile, kind of mobile heroic, right? I mean, we're talking 6 mobiles and what is it? Is it 6 or 6 heroics?
Yeah.
So, that's pretty good. That's above average in both areas.
Both areas.
So if you're playing a villain that you need to do a lot of saving of civilians, when we played the other night, who kept dropping civilians like crazy? Oh, we were playing Nimrod as part of the...
He was part of the Days of Future Past box that includes, for those of you who aren't familiar, the Sentinels. and we played a game against them, and Nimrod would drop civilians like crazy.
Yes, and if he can fill up the map, and I won't digress, we'll get into him one day, but if he can fill up the map for those civilians, he wins. Yes. She would obviously be very strong in that because she's a very heroic character.
She would. I do like the idea that she's a move heroic character. Obviously, just looking at her symbols kind of tells you. But I think that she's kind of an all-around kind of character. If you truly think about it, not just looking at this count, but obviously 2 hits is not great. But if you have her ability, and obviously in the TVT match, you can play against almost every hero or almost every villain. I just feel like if she's not limited, she can be a big hitter, a big hit kind of character. Sure, not having that much targets, but or maybe not doing that much, but she can still deal at least 2 hits and 2 hits and 2 different targets, and that still just gives her at least more of an average on the symbol count if you add it all together.
Yeah, she'd be interesting in that Days of Future Past map because you need to take care of civilians, which she can do, but you also have the Sentinels running around, and she could, if they're bunched up, she can hit multiple Sentinels if they're somehow in the similar location. So it depends on the map. She's probably going to be an either or. You're going to play a map with a lot of thugs. She can maybe get off her hits there. If you're playing a map with a lot of civilians, her heroics come into place, but it's going to be a rare map that she can do both.
Yes.
And really, maybe the team v team options, blue team, gold team options really give her that chance.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, I think that is everything for today for this character. We just went through her key features. We went through everything. we really did on everything. So just overall, nice character. Got a little bit of everything, but she's basically a big mover and can do lots of heroics. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a fun time listening to us today. Tomorrow, I will be releasing another episode as well, talking about Banshee. Yes, Banshee. Now, of course, I don't know a lot of these X-Men characters as well. I haven't really read any of the comics that has passed my time. But
the man with the golden voice, Banshee.
Banshee. And we're going to talk about him next time. And he's a fun character, I'm not going to lie. I did play with him. But that's just a little sneak peek for later on. But anyway, we are done for today. See you all tomorrow. Hope you have a fantastic day. I am Ethan Mullet.
I'm Rick Mullet.
And this is Roster United. Have a great day.